Um, and Rochelle, then Nancie, then Nick, then I'll go, and then Melih, you could do yours
Sure.
as a deeper dive as your
Yep.
intro as well. Let's set it for 3 months, 3 minutes, 3 months.
3
Talk for
months.
3 months, Rochelle. See if you can
That's
talk
a,
for 3 months.
that could be a little extensive.
Challenge.
That's I could probably do it. I mean, I
You
could
could do it.
probably sing it, but aside from that,
All right, you're
okay.
up.
It is Rochelle from Dynamic Business Growth, and I always say it's dynamic business growth and not schlep along business growth. And companies, they really have a rough time speaking about their business in a compelling way. They are very long-winded, boring, and speak like everyone else. So when you speak about your business, my big question is, are you storytelling or boring telling? Do you have a story that highlights your high-level skills? So being able to craft some of those stories is where recently I'm doing some of my best work. I love working with the trades. I mean, a plumber is not just a plumber. You'd be amazed at some of the high skills that they have. I love working, again, family-owned businesses because they've gotten all their businesses by word of mouth, and now they're in an entire different genre. They're like the Flintstones. We got to like pull them into the Jetsons. We've got to bring them into the new age. So I love doing that. And that's about what I want to say for the now. Now, I am looking to do my next ultimate power pitch program. I'm looking for 4 people that want to upgrade their speaking skills, and that's my call. That's my ask for today.
So, and that is, tell us a little more about that program.
Program is I do have a 6 week program where I break down your business. We look at who is your I'd like it's not in your business. I break down what's your high level skill that people would pay for, and then I reposition you and up level the way you talk about your business. I've done this, I don't even know how many times, and people, because of the way I've repositioned them, they've been able to literally change their fees quite, I mean, really raise their fees. We're not talking about 10%. We're talking about like double and triple. So the way you talk about your business matters.
So I have a recommendation for you. There's a platform that I signed up for but haven't yet taken advantage of called Pitch 59, which is sort of like a business card with a 59-second video pitch. And obviously getting that pitch right would be really helpful. And maybe you could partner with, because they don't give you any help with the pitch itself, right? They give you the platform, but
Give
they
me
don't give
something
you
to,
any.
I'll look up,
Uh,
I need to look it up. It's pitch 59.
yes, I think it's just
Right.
straight, let's see, pitch59.com or something like that. Let me just
I'll
do a
look that
quick.
up. That's great.
Yeah.
Even people, when they're looking for investment dollars, they focus on the wrong thing. They may focus on the product, and the product, believe it or not, is almost secondary. When somebody's writing you a check, they want to know who your team is and what's your marketing approach. So you can have the greatest product, but if you don't have the right team and if you can't market, you'll never get a check.
Yeah, and with this case, the pitch doesn't mean look pitch to investors. It's a
No,
pitch of
no,
any
it's just
sort.
a day to day. Exactly. No, I was just
Yeah.
saying that in addition to.
Yes, absolutely. All right, my timer disappeared. Stop. Okay. Thank you. And let's move on. Nick, why don't you tell us what you're up to?
Alrighty. All right. All right. All right. All right. All right. All right. No, yeah. My name is Nick. So I have a couple fields that I work in, namely writing, video editing, and I've been doing a lot more with SEO optimization for articles that we write. For example, optimizing it for specific key phrases, so it will rank in Google searches for those specific phrases. For example, if it's reputation matters, then we would optimize it and make sure that the article will appear when you search for it and will search within page 1 or 2 of Google. So in term writing and video editing, I've done since my time in university. I was the editor in chief at my college paper. So I kind of use that skill set in terms to not only identify relevant topics that people would want to read about in through the lens of what we do at both R Square Media and another company I work with called Connect A Strategic Solutions.
Froze.
Wait.
You're still good. You're back.
Dip. Sorry about that. What I was saying is I kind of use the skills I learned at Delphi University when I was editor-in-chief to kind of identify topics that people would want to read about. Oh, you've got to be kidding me. Again?
You froze again. That's okay. We can hear you.
I think my Wi-Fi is...
Oh, you can turn your video
Sorry.
off just to save bandwidth. So
Yeah. Still do
Yeah.
that.
I'm sorry about that. My Wi-Fi just does
No
not like
worries.
me today.
That's okay. Keep going.
So I used the skills I learned when I was the editor-in-chief to identify topics that people would want to read about, especially through the lens of the company's mission of R Square Media and Connect A Strategic Solutions. So, for example, I just wrote a white paper on effective go-to-market strategy in the medical device industry. So I am able to take the skills that I've learned and apply them to create creative and engaging projects that will help boost the company and a client's online visibility, as well as how people see them in general to make them be seen as thought leaders in regards to their specific field or niche.
Okay. And who are you looking to meet?
I think I'm mostly looking to meet either people who are looking for someone to help with their marketing or social media, and HR representatives who are looking to have, because I work with Toastmasters International, so HR representatives and companies who are looking to boost public speaking and help their employees in that regard.
Thank you so much. All right, Nancie, welcome.
Hi there. So as I said previously, I work in healthcare public relations, specializing in media relations for biotech, pharma, life science companies, as well as healthcare companies. So that's basically helping all of the above get coverage for research, data, FDA approvals, new treatments, and so on. I've been consulting the last couple of years. I have been trying to go in-house. Ideally, my desire is to be in-house full-time with a pharma or biotech company, or healthcare company, should that happen. That's the highlights. Really, I'm in New York City, and I'm a big networker myself, and trying to remember now how, Michael, we were introduced to each other.
I don't know, but we can look it up.
Yeah.
Should I connect you with Connect A Strategies? Nick, what's Lynn Donaldson?
I know her. We've spoken about her.
Okay.
Not the most responsive person, I have to tell you.
Oh, right. Okay. We
Yeah.
had difficulty getting it through there. Well, Nick, maybe you can make that connection, help make that connection happen. And the other person, let's see, is there anybody else comes to mind? So it's medical is your medical. And
Yeah,
pharma,
healthcare,
right?
medical, biotech, hospital. Yeah, all of the above.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I mean, I know some people in that space. I think we are also we're talking about somebody else who does design in the space, but can't remember his name right now either. All right,
Oh yeah,
will.
I did connect with that person, and he has weekly calls that others might find interesting on all kinds of bells and whistles. Yeah.
All right. Alicia, are you with us? You have your window open, but neither your video nor your audio on. So I will go, and then we'll jump right to Melih. Let me cancel that and start. So as most of you know, my business is selling software development services as an independent rep. I do my teams. I have about a dozen teams that I represent. They've got different skill sets, right? Some of them work on content management systems like WordPress or Drupal. Others work on primarily with e-commerce systems like Shopify or WooCommerce or Magento. And then some of them do custom development, both mobile apps and web apps. And my job is to match the client need with the team that is best suited for that work, either based on their tech stack knowledge, or so that's the programming languages and the platforms they're familiar with, or I should say, and their cost structure, where they're located, obviously their availability, any industry or domain knowledge that would help us win the business. That all comes into play. And I am purely a commission-based sales rep. My approach is very consultative. I work with small companies that are trying to create something new, don't have a lot of budget necessarily, and help them spend their money wisely. We don't take equity or pay, but we do help people figure out how they can use their real dollars most effectively on the technical side. I love to work with, and we do a lot of work with other digital agencies that don't always have those resources in-house, right? They may have a programmer or two, but sometimes they're either booked, solid, they need more resources, or the opportunities that come their way are just outside their wheelhouse, right? Maybe they're a WordPress programmer, but something comes their way that is just, outside of their area of expertise. I'll give you an example. I got a call recently from a small agency that I've spoken with in the past. They do WordPress website, but they have a client that they're a law firm that works with co-op boards and condo boards, and they want to create a voting app. So states are allowing electronic voting now for HOAs and condos, etc. And they want to create an app that makes it easier for owners of co-ops, shareholders, to vote for their board members and other issues that come up. And I'll say that the other area that I do a lot of work in is with startups. So we're helping them build their first products, or taking over from another team, or just taking their product to the next level.
Now, when you do startups, is there a particular industry or not really?
Well, a lot of those startups are software startups, right? That's the product. So some sort of app or information they're providing via the internet. So this voting app, it's a startup, right? It's lawyers who want to create a voting app for their clients and maybe sell that to other, as a software as a service to condos that they may not currently have a relationship with. Cool. So Alicia, I guess you're not going to be joining us. Melih, first of all, any questions to anybody that did a quick presentation?
Yeah, I've got a question for you,
Oh,
Michael.
Melih,
Go ahead. Go ahead. No. All right.
I have a question for you. I have a quick question for you, Michael. When you're talking about this app for condos, are they thinking of selling it or renting it out to managing agents?
Yeah, they may do that as well. It's still, I think they want to start, using it for their clients first. First, they have to develop it, right? So right now, it's early on. They want to move quickly, and we'll develop a minimum viable product to start with, something that they can use, something they can launch, but with the basic vote for your board members kind of thing, and maybe a referendum up or down on a particular subject.
Oh, that's
So
huge. That's what I was thinking. That's a biggie because to get people to get to a meeting, to get a quorum, to get people to vote, you can't live long enough. So
Right.
that's why I think that's a really interesting. And then a managing agent's got so many buildings that they're working with that it could be interesting. Okay,
Yeah.
well, when that's up and running, we can have a conversation.
Absolutely. Melih, you had a question or
Yeah,
comment?
I got two things for you. Number one is, does anybody within the groups that you represent work
Yes.
on fixing the recommendations that are in Google Search Console for a website?
Fixing
And
the
the-
recommendations?
Yeah. So Google has all these recommendations inside of Search Console, and usually you're not dealing with one or two. You're dealing like with 400, right? It picks up something and it could be, pages missing that needed to run redirects. It could be goofy things like, the video thumbnails not in place, or I don't know, everything from take your pick. I mean, if you're familiar with Google Search Console, there's just a lot of information
You mean
inside of it.
you mean for fixing the issues that are slowing down or inhibiting your search?
That's part of it, and that's within Search Console as well. But then there are those page errors that Google comes up with, and the question is, ideally those not only need to be fixed in whatever the recommendation is, but then you need to go back in the Search Console and say, "Yep, I fixed all these," and that's pretty time consuming and tedious. Now, it's not something that happens monthly, but somebody's got to walk in the door and just take the bull by the horns, make those changes, and then move on. So that's somebody I'm looking for right now. So if
Okay.
you happen, I'm not saying that you have to answer me today, but that was one thing. The other thing is we have an interesting project that might be coming up in January in which we need to move a website from HubSpot's website platform, which threw me for a loop. I'm like, really? What are these guys doing in website hosting and development or CMS? Anyway, we need to move it out of HubSpot system and move it into WordPress.
Absolutely. Yeah, we can definitely do that.
Okay, so we can talk separately
Okay.
on both of
Good.
those.
Would love to help out. And I will
Okay.
I may need to dig in a little bit more into the first one, but I think I understand what you're getting at.
Yeah, just anybody's got any decent knowledge of Search Console just knows all the picky things that Google comes up with, and if you don't fix them, it hurts you. The longer they lay around, and the more the quantity increases, Google just starts to have a hissy fit about your website. So it's just one of those projects where you just dive in, get it done, and then the ongoing maintenance becomes a lot easier.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. So Melih, I know Nancie, you have to run. I don't know if you could spend any time listening to what Melih has to say. I guess well, I'm recording all of this, by the way, so you'll have a chance to but by the way, before you leave, Nancie, can you drop your contact information into the chat? Unless you already did that.
I did
Okay.
already. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank
And
you. Thanks.
you might want to download if everybody you might want to download the chat now. I don't know if other people have put their contact information in, but
Yeah,
Um,
connected already with one and
Okay.
happy to connect with others. Yeah,
all right, wonderful.
Nancie, you and I should catch up after this
absolutely.
meeting. I think
Sounds
there'll be
good.
an opportunity. Okay. Well, I'll
Sounds
reach
good.
out to you separately. All right. Talk
Thank
to
you
later.
so much.
You bet.
Thanks. I'm gonna sign off.
You got to run.
Thank
Okay,
you.
Nancie.
Okay.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Melih,
So,
give us an update.
give us an update. First of all, I know Alicia was in the August meeting at the end of August that I had attended, but I think she had the same problem that she has today, which is she's on, but she's not on. So I don't know what's going on there. But I know that I don't remember Nick or Rochelle from that meeting. So I'll give you a quick rundown. I've got a 37-year-old marketing agency out of the Detroit area. I started the internet group in 94. We went 100% digital in 2004. I've got in-house technical, creative marketing and writers. Everybody's in Detroit. And the current team I have has been working with me for 13 years. The only reason they have been working with me longer is because that silly thing called the financial crisis, which drives me up a wall even today. So kind of gives you a rough idea as to what that looks like. In any case, we got a close-knit team. They've all been working together for a long time. We have a lot of knowledge, experience, and subject matter authority, and pretty much all things marketing. Take your pick. There's very little that we don't do in today's world. Do we bring in freelancers or other partners in the project? Yes, absolutely, which is why I like this idea of joining Michael's team, because you never know who you're going to need and when you're going to need them. And so this is one of the reasons to be involved and to get to know everybody. So anyway, that being said, it's all things marketing, website development, and website performance management, because we don't call it maintenance and support anymore. That's long gone. So you're working on the performance of a website after it's been built. But there's a few things I'd like to touch base on, which are interesting, and these have been building out. One of them's been building up for a few years, and the other two have been slowly building out this year. So one of them is our conversion rate optimization program, which in the industry, everybody knows what that means, but honestly, it's just kind of funny because the target audience doesn't know what it means. It's kind of like going back 20 years ago when nobody knew what search engine optimization was. And they turned around and, we have the same scenario now. Certain conversion rate optimization. Well, what does that mean? Well, it's really about taking the existing website visitors and turning them into leads. But the idea is that you want to increase the number of leads the website can convert based on whatever the baseline is that the client has. In our case, we can increase the leads by 200%, but it takes roughly 4 months to get there. It's not an easy process. We have an artificial intelligence tool. We use heat maps. We use A/B testing. Obviously, the Google Search Console, Google Analytics, and a variety of other measurement tools that are part of this process. And how do you get the visitor to say, yes, I want to talk to you? If I had to narrow this down to something that that is unique or different, it's this idea that the AI tool is feeding the website visitor a call to action actively, meaning that we all have websites, we all have call to actions somewhere on the website. Call us, email us, fill out this form, click this button, whatever. But those are what I call passive CTAs. The AI is actually creating a journey funnel per visitor, and based on where in that journey it decides that visitor is, whether it's the first visit, the third visit, the fifth visit, doesn't make a difference. How long they spent on the website, what pages they went to, etc. It starts to get more aggressive further down that funnel. So in the beginning, it's, hey, let me show you some information about us being that website's information, that client's info. Further down that funnel, it starts to get more aggressive, and I'm just using layman's terms over here and saying it's gonna turn around and say, hey, you really need to talk to us. Okay, so figure this out. And that's kind of the process that it takes in terms of helping to facilitate. Now, that cannot be absent UX changes, UI changes, layout changes. It can't be absent of A/B testing. It can't be absent of changing button colors or whatever you want to do. But the AI tool is helping to facilitate what is visually there with, hey, here's the CTA that you need. And so the CRO program, we've actually started back in 2019. And then as AI turned around and became more prevalent and more mature, we added it into the mix. And so we are where we are today, and it's been working out really well.
So
What
is
do you
the
call-
AI used for scoring it? Is for scoring leads?
The AI actually is scoring the individual visitor and creating this funnel for that visitor, and saying, how far up on the funnel or how far down on the funnel is that visitor? And I mean, could we get to a point where we can personalize the details for that visitor? And the answer is yes. We just haven't enacted all those details yet. But it's just an interesting concept. And when you can see it change, the number of leads that client is getting, it's kind of fun.
It's cool.
Yeah.
And so the AI using cookies and whatever else is figuring out who this person is and whether they've been there before.
Yep.
Yeah.
Now I will say this. There is one limitation. In my humble opinion, this does not work on B2C websites. And the reason it doesn't is because there are too many products, too many services, too many things for that website visitor to try and figure out what it wants to do. And at that point, the AI does get a little confused. Where it does work the best is B2B websites, where you're walking in the door and it's a manufacturer, for example. I'm just using this basic example, and all they do is they create a widget, right, or a set of widgets, and at the end of the day, that client needs any one of them. Doesn't make a difference which one it is. And so the AI tool is much more specific at that point and can narrow down how it's interacting with that visitor. But the B2C websites, I'm not a big. I don't recommend us to get involved in those. I'm sorry, Rochelle, go ahead.
What about industries? Like, does this work for legal? Is there an industry that's better than
Yep.
than another industry? How large of a company does it work for? Does it pay to do it for, smaller practices? Is it larger practices? What scope on
just so you know, the price tag on this is $2,500 per month because it's a combination of being labor intensive and technology together. So there is no I don't, the client's got to be large enough, and I'm just throwing out a simple number. They got to be probably at least $5 million or more, where this is just a drop because it's ultimately a 4-month project. So it's 10 grand. It's got to be a drop in the bucket in their budget. Otherwise, they're not going to do this.
And you say, is that the entire CRO program?
That's the
2,500
4-month program. Yes. Now, if the client wants to go beyond 4 months after they see the results, then we can talk about what that looks like. But just the CRO program is generally a $10,000 investment on the part of the client. So $2,500 a month.
Right.
And that's probably not going to work for every small business out there. But if they're around that, whatever, $3 million, $5 million range, they probably could, invest into this.
Now,
So,
once running, I'm sorry, once this gets up and running, what's your projection in terms of how many leads per month? I mean, have you tested this?
The only thing that we can say is that we can increase the leads by 200% or 3x. 200% and 3x are the same thing. So if you're getting 10 leads a month, we can bump it up to 30, right? If you're getting 5 leads a month, we can bump it up to 15. So it's entirely dependent on that client, the industry they're in, and how many website visitors they're already getting. They're only getting 5 visitors a month, for example. We don't even start the project. You know what I'm saying? I mean, there's got to be enough volume of visitors to start with to make this worthwhile and for them to invest into. We have turned down some projects.
Maybe they don't have enough visitors, they're, whatever. Would you start with creating a program that would get them?
Absolutely.
And
Yes,
do that?
definitely. Yep. So we'd start in a different area first and then move into CRO later. So that's a very good
CRO,
possibility.
I'm like a dingbat. What's CRO?
I'm going to put it into the
conversion rate optimization. So it's basically, so search engine optimization gets more relevant people to your site.
Correct.
Through,
okay.
Yeah, conversion rate is once they're at your site, how do you increase the conversion? Whether that conversion means, downloading a white paper or buying something or signing up for your newsletter, whatever the conversion happens to be, that's important to you. That's the rate that you're trying to increase, right?
Correct.
From 1% to 2% or 3%.
That's the only thing that matters.
Well, ultimately, you want those people to actually buy something. I mean, that might be the conversion.
That's the one that matters. Are they converted? Are they, okay.
Correct. Exactly.
Thank you.
So
I
would love to hear more about that at some point, particularly the AI. And by the way, are you familiar with the AI Marketers Guild?
No.
It's run by David Berkowitz, not son of Sam, his name is also David Berkowitz, but David he runs a he runs a Slack channel also called the Serial Marketers. But I think if you're interested in talking about using AI for CRO,
Sure.
he might be a good guy to talk to.
You want to
So
introduce me? I'm game.
I will definitely introduce you. Introduce to.
I have a question.
Uh-huh.
Have you worked with hospitality at all?
For marketing programs, yes. Specifically to the CRO, no. And
Okay.
hospitality groups tend, I mean, they, even though they're B2C, because in hospitality specifically, they're looking for a room, right? Or they're, it's tourism that's pretty specific. The CRO program would work. We have not done a CRO program on hospitality client. We have worked with hospitality before, but that was more of a marketing program, more than anything else.
I didn't mean to cut you off. Did you have? I mean, you have another 3 minutes or so.
I'll touch on the other two very
Okay.
quickly. All right. So the one that we implemented this year, which I think is different, and one that I want to talk to Nancie about, is our press release marketing program. Again, we work with mid to large corporations, so our pricing structure is based on that, and it's based on the fact that we take on a lot of responsibility for the work that we do. So that being said, our press releases are $1,500 per press release. But the difference here compared to everything else that's on the market, and believe me, I've tried everything. I've tried the $30 version. I've tried the $100 version. I've tried the $500 version. We've done a lot of different things over the years. And let me break this out into the following buckets, right? Number one is if you're running a press release, especially on B2B, you need at least to be able to have something around 600 to 700 words so that it's meaningful where you can tell a story. And a lot of the systems out there only limit you to 400, and then they charge you for everything above that. And so that turns into a bit of a problem. The second piece of the puzzle is the ability to add unlimited links and unlimited videos and unlimited PDFs. You're trying to support what you're talking about. And if you get limited to 2 links, for example, or 1 PDF or 1 video, that doesn't help either. So you need to be able to, and don't get me wrong, I'm not suggesting everybody has to throw in an unlimited number of all of that, but you want at least 3, maybe 4 links within your press release. You're going to probably want 1 or 2 videos and 1 or 2 PDFs. Well, that adds up with the other services. So the ability to have content that you can add is, I think, is important. And then the another element which I think is important in today's world, which I wouldn't have said this 5 years ago, but in today's world, you can actually get a list of journalists, bloggers, reporters, publications, and influencers so that you can email them and say, hey, would you like to talk to my client? All right. Being able to email that to, let's say, a list of 3,000, 5,000, whatever your number is, people in that specific industry that match that, that criteria, that's an important factor nowadays too. And we've seen this in action. Actually, that tends to work better than the press release itself. And so being able to email everybody. And last but not least, you want to be able to make sure that you have success. And I can tell you right now, premium press release marketing has a greater chance of success with a broader reach. And therefore, you're going to have all those backlinks that are going to hang around with a shelf life of years. So I think from a press release standpoint, this is an important part of the story here. And yes, of course, it has a cost against it. But I can tell you what press release we did for a client here recently, 2 weeks later, that press release is on 900 websites with a domain authority of 50 or above, all linking back to the client. It works.
It's great. Yeah,
And I'll stop there.
Do you work with, I mean, do you pitch this through PR agencies, or are you the PR agency?
We are the PR agency in this case, but like, for
Okay.
example, I could see working with Nancie if this is not something she already has, and we would support her clients through her.
What about David Libby?
Yeah, there's
I love him.
Alan Winikoff, David Libby, both PR people. Do
Yep.
you know them? Do you know them both?
I don't know them directly, no.
Okay, so I'll introduce you.
David Libby, I think, would have more of a, I think that would be a good fit for the two of you.
All right.
Yeah, I can make those intros. Do you have a sort of a write-up on that?
Yeah, we do have a page on the press release marketing. I can send that to you separately.
That'd be great.
I think we're still
Okay.
making some tweaks to it, but I'll send you what we have.
No problem. Okay.
I'll double check with my team.
By the way, I put this in my newsletter. I don't know if anybody saw it. I posted on LinkedIn while I was in Paris. The Paris Auto Show was going on, so I took a morning and went to the auto show, and was just fascinated because there are about, I don't know, 7 or 8 Chinese car companies that were exhibiting there. Now that wouldn't exhibit in the U.S. because they can't sell in the U.S.
Right.
And really impressive stuff. They've got, especially their electric car offerings. Check out I'll put it. I put it in the newsletter. There's a link to the one video.
Right.
Yeah, this one video that I took of, can't remember which car it was. I think it was BYD or BD. What was it called? Big Chinese car company. That we will know of soon if we don't.
I would
know already.
imagine.
Yeah,
Hey, don't forget, tag me on your posts.
Okay.
Just after you put the posts in, tag me in a comment. I got 22,000 really good friends.
Thank you.
Tag
Yeah.
me so I can react and
You
put a
can
decent
react.
comment in there with hashtags and whatnot. And so, by all means, happy to help
Thank you.
to expand your reach.
Yeah, this was not really related to my software development, but I was just fascinated.
Oh, it's right.
Yeah. It was
Anything.
very cool.
Last but not least, I'm sorry. Go ahead. I didn't mean to interrupt.
No,
Sorry.
that's all right. That's all right. I'm finished.
Do you do any work in senior living?
Do
No,
I
we
do
have
any work?
not.
Who are you talking
We
about?
have-
Melih?
We have
Yeah.
not. We did work with a franchise operation in home care. And that was a few years back. But that was more about us promoting the individual franchisees. And then we had a separate program for the franchisor to get more leads for people who are interested in becoming franchisees. That's the extent that we did in that, but no, we haven't worked directly with a client in that space.
Why is that? Why do you ask?
I have a client that is we have to talk bottom line. I have a client that is merging possibly with a French company. They're coming into the US. He has 2 very big verticals. One vertical is hospitality, and the other vertical is home care, not home care, senior living.
Assisted living,
And what
right.
they're doing is they're redefining senior living. When you think of senior living, I mean, needless to say, I don't know what comes to your mind, but it's not something that I would consider zippity doo dah.
Right,
And
exactly.
really redesigning it to make it a more elaborate and something that you're not cringing. I mean, even something that you can even say you're looking forward to, because
Sure.
it's creating the whole concept of senior living. So that's his vertical. And my thought is, if they're doing something with AI, there's something that you might be able to connect with their overseas group. And he has hotels that he's done in Detroit. I don't remember which one exactly. So I just thought that if you had a hospitality.
Let me tell you
Very
something.
much.
I've been at this for nearly 40 years, right? And I always get people asking me, "Hey, did you do something in this industry?" And the answer is, it doesn't make a difference. I've got all these quivers of stuff to use in my strategy,
Doesn't
and
matter.
it doesn't make a difference. And then after you've been in this industry for as long as in marketing for as long as I have, throw anything at me. I'll figure it out. I'm a problem solver.
So
I think the thing
that's
to do is if they've got a particular issue that they want to get resolved, and
Yeah,
there's
exactly.
a benefit of being in Detroit where Melih is. it might be worth an intro.
I think it's, I'll talk to David and see. Right now, he's in the process of a possible merge, so it's not the right time. But
Right.
once
No.
that comes,
And there's one more thing, and I've been through M&As before in terms of being a vendor on one side or the other side. And I can tell you that even after the merger, there's a good year that can go by before everybody settles in and figures out
it needs to
who's
settle.
controlling what. Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
the dust needs to settle.
yeah.
And I think it's a great opportunity on both sides because they want to do the it's going to be the parent company at that point, wants to do business in the US and he's creating that gateway for him. And then he's going to be doing more business overseas. So there's a whole global opportunity going on here. So we'll see later on. There might be something that the two of you can have a conversation with.
Okay. I'm happy
Sounds
to
good.
do that. No, absolutely.
Well,
And the other
Melih,
one
thank.
I'd love to do later on is I've got a really great law firm, and they are literally they're growing quite a bit, and they've got to do a little bit more integration because they can't take on a lot of new business right now because they've grown and they've got to settle in and then get ready for their next leap. So when they're ready for their next leap, I think you'd be a great
Great.
a great
Happy to help out.
Resource.
Happy to help out. You bet.
Here's the thing, I like to introduce people to what I consider goodies. We can find the jerks on our own. You know what I mean? I mean, like, I'm pretty careful of who I would suggest to speak with because, again, the worst thing I think you could do is pass on a, like a savage. Like, who needs this aggravation? So that's why I'm
Listen, punch
you.
in my name into Google. You'll find I'm an industry author. I've been on conferences as guest
I want to
speaker.
know when the timing is correct so that when
Yeah,
things
sure.
that's timing, and if the timing's not right, the best suggestions don't
Sure,
really
so,
work.
right,
So
right.
I like putting this on a burner, and we'll see. And then there's a couple of people. In bottom line is you and I should talk, and we'll set something up.
Let's do that. You bet.
It's set.
I sent you an invite on LinkedIn. Nick, to you too. Alicia, actually, I sent her one back in August. Just send me a message. We'll share email addresses and figure something
Go
out.
forward. Exactly.
All right.
All right.
And
Listen,
Michael, I'll wait to hear back from you on the
on
Google
both
Search
things.
Console
Yeah,
and
Google
the
search, and also we
the
could definitely help with the
HubSpot.
HubSpot to WordPress. Absolutely, we
Okay.
can help.
And Michael, I'm a little sad that you're leaving Paris. I hope that you have a couple of last minute great days, great weather, great whatever. So that by the time you are packing to come home, you're sort of ready.
Yeah, I think we'll be fine. We're pretty much we're doing something every day, and on the weekend we've been taking 2-day trips or 2-night trips out to Normandy and Loire Valley, Strasbourg. Those are the 3 places. Really great.
Just enjoy it. Enjoy
Thank
that
you.
time.
I'm
glad.
thank you so much for joining. Definitely bring guests, invite people, have them come, people that you think might benefit from this. You have the link. If you don't have the link and the code for registering for guests, let me know. It's in the newsletter.
Okay, send it to me just in case separately.
Okay.
And I'll do something on LinkedIn.
Sounds good.
Okay.
Thank you so much, and
Cheers.
have a great day. Take care.
Bye.
Bye-bye.